In Gatwick, a flight has just arrived from Trinidad. It's a well-known source of cocaine, and sniffer dog Rossi has just seconds to pick out any smugglers hiding amongst the innocent passengers.
It'll be all right.
Okay, thank you.
The voice looks right into the
Thank you. That's it, all done.
Suddenly, Rossi picks up a scent and targets a woman in a white jumper.
Just stand still for me.
UK border sniffer dogs are trained to pinpoint the exact location of any drugs. Rossi indicates on the woman's bag.
Are you together? Are you training by yourself?
The passenger seems nervous, but after the initially strong indication, Rossi loses interest.
Where? Okay, thank you, madam. That's fine, thank you. He basically pulled to get to her, or get to her scent, so I dropped the lead, and he was all around her rucksack, and he dropped the floor, so he tried to get underneath it.
Back down into the channels anyway, just in case your guys have picked anything up down there.
Yeah, I might see what's in her bag anyway.
Meanwhile, Gatwick's newest drug dog, Barney, is examining the baggage from the same flight. Barney gives his strongest indication yet on this black and white spotted suitcase.
I've got a feeling it could be this lady here.
Officers watch as the same woman collects the bag.
And it is. All right, thank you.
With two separate indications, the officers think she must be smuggling cocaine. The team must keep the suspect under surveillance to make sure she doesn't slip away. But surprisingly, it's her who approaches the officers to ask for some directions. Fitz intercepts the passenger.
Hi, where are you travelling from today?
Here called Trinidad.
Trinidad. You travel on your own?
Yeah.
Okay, just have a quick word if that's all right. Hello.
But now the suspect seems more relaxed, even as Barney gives another unmistakable indication.
Echo 5.
The sniffer dogs believe the bags contain cocaine, but now it's up to Fitz to find it. In Manchester, UK border officers are on the lookout for people bringing in more than 200 cigarettes on a flight from Gran Canaria. They spot 2 bags full of cigarettes. Kevin puts them back on the carousel, giving the passengers the opportunity to declare the excess, using the phone provided in the customs red channel. Ignoring the signs, they walk through nothing to declare, and the passengers aren't happy to hear that the goods will now all be seized.
There's no signage and and we have to go and pick a phone up.
No, there's nothing telling me to pick a phone up.
When you walk in here, so can you categorically say I didn't go near that phone?
I can do, yeah, because I watched it. I went round the back of the belt, I x-rayed the flight. I seen you pick up your bags off the belt, and I watched you walk towards the green channel. You never went anywhere near the goods to declare channel. You walked straight into the green channel saying, yeah, not to declare. Okay? It's going to be no tax. It's going to be seized from you today.
The red phones have been there for years, but the man's still hoping to bend the rules.
There you go.
What's the crack here?
As the officers already said, there's signs out there.
No, there's nothing that says we have to pick a phone up though, is there?
Come on. We can't, there's nothing we can do. If you'd have declared them at the red point, you could have paid the dues.
Of course there's something you can do.
There's not.
No, I've never brought anything back in there.
Now other passengers decide to get involved.
No reason in the custody. They love to
It's not signs, you know.
I'm talking to you, mate. I'm talking to you. Well, I'm not listening to you.
Right, I'll just show you the red point where the gentleman that's just been very abusive to us about not having the opportunity to declare the cigarettes. This is where he should have come. Bringing in excess goods, you should declare them at the red point. The gentleman's argument was there was no staff behind the red point. We tried to explain that there's a red phone there for him to use, and he said, well, he shouldn't have to do that. There's no signs telling you to do that. And there quite clearly is. It says there, goods to declare, you will speak to an officer or make your declaration using the red telephone. So, he's not got a leg to stand on, I'm afraid.
And now the man decides to turn
It's
nasty.
just the fact that, you know, you've got an asshole like you, and you've got a manager who's got no discretion. You're not going to be sweeping the floor.
Unfortunately, that's the way people get. It's just, they get upset because they're having a cigarette seized from them.
Despite clearly being guilty, the men haven't finished abusing the officers just yet. Back in Gatwick, the suspected cocaine smuggler picked out by the sniffer dogs is now being searched.
They did this over there, so it doesn't matter what
Sorry,
how you pack it back or whatever.
Right, oh, okay.
Because they pretty much messed it up.
Who was that?
They checked the bags and whatever across there.
They checked them before you came out, did they?
They
Right.
did the same thing.
Oh, okay.
So they pretty much messed it up. So.
Right.
With 3 separate sniffer dog indications on the bags.
Okay, I just need to do a quick x-ray of your suitcase, all right?
Yeah.
UK border officer Fitz is convinced he'll find something inside.
All right, doesn't seem to give us that much information about it, so probably have to do a further examination. I'll take it to the tool room and have a look, have a closer look, actually.
Surprisingly, Fitz can find no sign of cocaine. And even the drug swab is clear.
Right, they actually ascertain there's nothing in there. No, which is a bit of a shame, really, as it was a good indication by the dogs, I must admit.
It's disappointing, but with such strong suspicions, Fitz isn't willing to give up the search just yet.
That's the thing that you plug into the television.
Right.
It's a games console dance mat, but something doesn't add up.
Has you got a PlayStation with her?
No.
So why would you have one of these anyway?
Yeah. Right, round 2. I mean, it is heavy as hell.
Fitz then spots the clue he's been after.
The actual casing looks like it's already been removed once before.
This sounds like a sniffer dog. It's just looking for minute particles of substances that is that really stop high. It's got to be there.
Suspicions are now even higher, but where are the drugs?
Is that rubber impregnation?
That's what I think it is.
Ever seen it in a dance mat?
Have you tried doing it on that?
Can you break the
Yeah, that's what.
Can you break a bit off?
No, you can do if you want to. The material's gone blue. Oh. I can't say that's a positive then.
Amazingly, the rubber inside the dance mat
Okay,
is
so
full
at this
of
present
cocaine.
time, the time is 10:10. I'm arresting you on suspicion of being involved in the importation of a controlled drug.
It just
Okay?
goes to show,
You don't have to
with
say anything,
smugglers
but it may
using
harm
ever
your
more
defence
devious
if you fail to
methods,
mention when
the officers
questioned
can
something
take
which you may
nothing
later
for
rely on in
granted.
court. Anything you do say may be given in evidence. Do you understand? Okay.
The officer's persistence has paid off, and yet another smuggler has been caught red-handed.
North.
The drugs were ingeniously hidden, and one member of the team deserves a special reward.
Knock yourself out, you little star. Well, he's just had his second job in 3 days to cocaine detections, which is unprecedented for such a new dog. He's only been in the job for 6 months. It's brilliant. But in the meantime, he's going to get this as a treat because it's just an unbelievable job for such a young dog.
And while Barney enjoyed his bone, the woman won't be enjoying her freedom. She pleaded guilty and could be facing around 10 years in prison. Back in Manchester, the angry passengers want to appeal against the decision to seize their cigarettes. But they're now refusing to sign the paperwork.
I had 606 stuff on me when it says.
After 2 hours, the men are starting to test the officer's
That's my argument
patience.
here.
There you go.
That is my argument. Right.
Whether it goes to appeal or not,
Right.
he won't get his cigarettes back.
Okay.
You won't get your cigarettes back because you've entered the goods nothing to declare channel, stating that you've got nothing to declare. And I followed you straight to the green channel.
Dad, just it. Can't be with it. It's just job worse.
Well, I was trying to say that we've got more pressing things to do than stand here arguing with you.
I couldn't agree with you more.
So if you don't
The
understand,
already tense exchange is about to escalate.
again, you need to just learn that you
Learn what?
learn. Why
Are you my
why are
dad?
you talking like that?
Don't talk to
Why are
me
you
like I'm
talking
a
like
piece
that?
of lad.
Hold on, you're the one you were talking to us like a piece of.
Laughing for no reason.
Yeah,
Don't
is he
try
not
to tell me
entitled-
what
is he
to do.
not
Yo,
entitled-
don't try to tell me what to do. Stand
He's
up.
having a conversation.
I'll tell you now, and have less of that now, otherwise I'll arrest you and I'll have you upstairs.
Right, let's
So
just...
pack it in now.
And they were getting quite abusive, and it was getting to the stage where we thought they might be having to arrest them for obstruction or even assault. He was getting close to them. It looked like they were going to lash out. I've made our way out. Rude or abusive job. I've tried to be. Luckily, we talked them round and they've left in the end, but I'm not very happy. We've had the cigarettes seized. Just straight down there and then round to your left.
The illegal cigarettes will now be destroyed. Coming up, officers stop a suspected terrorist.
All his answers are sort of wavering. He's saying one thing, but he's not really backing it up. So he's not telling us the truth about something.
Coming up, Cash Dog Miller sniffs out some lies.
It's wages or... So have you been working in England then? I thought you came here on holiday.
In Manchester's Terminal 2, a flight has just touched down from Dubai. A man acting strangely has been intercepted by the UK border officers. Inside the suspect's bags, Gary has found flight manuals and pilot training information.
He's just looking very edgy, very nervous, but he's got all sorts of literature on planes. He says he's just an enthusiast, but he says it looks too detailed, really. It looks like confidential stuff.
So, for you to draw a flight desk simulation of planes, where are you getting that information from? Internet. So everything that you've got in front of me here, you have copied from the internet. What?
The internet, yeah.
All the stuff that you have in here. It's just something very, very strange. Yeah. So you just have a look at him and he wants to go.
I know he's looking at you.
The gentleman comes through off the Dubai flight, some single traveller. He seemed nervous in the way he was entering the channels, head down, sluggish walking, avoiding eye contact with me, to be honest. Basically found a lot of literature with regards to flying, flight schools, avionics of the plane, and various courses with regards to cabin crew.
As Gary digs deeper, the details become more and more incriminating.
Why have you got information about fighter planes?
Well,
combat planes, weapons.
Well, these were. I was interested during the RAF once.
You were interested in what? Sorry?
Joined the RAF for Royal Air Force.
Okay, so you're trying to self-teach yourself by learning from the internet how to fly planes.
No, from that. I'm just getting some information from the internet. That's what I'm doing.
So you're just getting some information.
The man's lack of answers is worrying Gary.
Of aircraft by the looks of all this stuff.
I'm just making a book, that's all.
So you're now making a book?
No, I'm not making a book. What I'm doing is I go on these planes all the time. You can see my passport. I went to flying school in Bangladesh. The aircrafts were too old.
What was the name of the flying school?
Bangladesh flying school.
Okay, how long did I find Bangladesh flying school for?
No, I wasn't there for long. I just went to see.
You just told me you were at flying school.
Yeah, I went there to see the aircraft. That's all. Just to look at this stuff.
So weren't taught anything in lessons at all?
No, I've not took any trial lessons.
Well,
I'm not doing anything wrong. I'm not.
Okay, like I asked you before, are you just sort of learning to be a pilot from information you were downloading from the internet?
No. I mean,
so where's all this information?
I've made them. I've collected. No one helped me. That's all I can say.
Well, I mean, I'm no sort of aircraft specialist, but some of this seems quite sensitive. If this got in the wrong hands, it could be quite.
Gary finds a hard drive with more aircraft data.
Just aircrafts
that you've downloaded off the internet.
Yeah.
When did you last go to Bangladesh before this trip?
The man's odd behaviour and contradictions are increasingly alarming.
I don't remember.
Don't remember. You said you travel all the time.
Yeah, I do, but it's a passport thing. I remember when I travel.
You're not making sense, really.
The man's answers are becoming more vague, and his story sounds stranger all the time.
When I was young, I went to college, school, I had friends, but I've lost everything. I lost my friends, mates, everything, everyone's gone.
Doesn't seem to be able to back anything up that he's talking about. all his answers are sort of wavering. He's saying one thing, but he's not really backing it up and backtracking on things. So he's not telling us the truth about something. So we're going to swab his bag, screen it for explosives.
The officers believe the man may be involved in terrorist activities, and the suspect is saying nothing to explain the documents. Gary has called in Special Branch while they await the result of the swab for explosives. On a night shift in Dover, officers are monitoring outbound vehicles on the hunt for large amounts of cash which may be linked to crime. Ben is questioning a Polish vehicle, looking for any clues that they may have something to hide.
How much money have you brought to England with you? 3,000. And how much are you taking back to Poland now? How much money do you have left?
1,600.
Is that between all of you, yes?
No,
£1,600 each.
Ben thinks the group are telling lies.
So you each brought £3,000 to England,
yeah.
And you all take 1,600 back with you. And it's all in £50 notes as well?
Yeah.
And where did you get the money from then?
From Polish exchange point.
And they just gave it in 50s, not in smaller? Okay, that's good. If you can bring your money and yourselves and come out the car, and then we go.
The specially trained sniffer dog will now search the Polish vehicle for cash to see if the passengers are telling the truth. As Miller and dog handler Bo search the car, Ben presses the passengers on their story.
So what have you spent your money on while you've been here in England?
Fun. Clubs and drinking and stuff like that.
Okay, and you've all got 1,600.
The car is clear. But Miller picks up a cent in one of the rucksacks.
Is there more money in that bag? No?
Just show me this bag.
The man denies having any more cash, but Miller has found an envelope which gives Ben reason to believe the group are lying to him.
So that's where money's been. Was that in this bag, is it? All right. It's wages or?
Yeah, wages.
That's had money in, is what I'm saying.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, so that's why the dog smells it. So have you been working in England then? I thought you came here on holiday.
Yes, those days before.
Who was on holiday?
Yeah.
But not you. You work in England. So why didn't you say you work in England? Do you all work in England?
No. So I'm not very
Are you sure? It's not a problem if you work in England. Just tell me if you do. You don't work in England. You're on holiday. So it's not wages that you're taking back to Poland. You sure?
Yeah.
What about yours? Is yours wages that you take home? Because it 859, 803, £1,600, £1,600, 16. So do you work in England or not? Yes, yeah, I think you work in England. Yeah. So why you say you don't work in England? It's not a problem now. You're Polish. You can work in England.
Okay.
Yeah?
Yeah, we work.
Okay. So you do work in England.
Yeah, sorry for that.
So if it hadn't been for your wage slips, you'd have been all right.
The needless lie has been uncovered.
Obviously now that Poland's in the European Union, they can work in the UK, but for whatever reason, I don't know whether they're scared to tell us the truth, they're actually working here, or whether it's just a case of they don't want to say how much money they're taking out of the country, so they've all come out with a story that they've come here on holiday, each got £1,600 left, and then they're taking it back to Poland, so it didn't really ring true. 1,600, 1,600, 1,600, okay?
It's clever really, because sometimes that happens, you know, someone lies about the amount of money they've got and then the dog will indicate on an item of paperwork that's been with their money, which is obviously why the dog indicated.
Good.
It's a barefaced lie, which officers are used to.
Sometimes we don't know why they lie, but sometimes we do find it out, and it's the smallest of reasons, really.
The passengers have done nothing illegal and are free to go. In Manchester, the officers are dealing with something potentially far more serious. They've stopped a passenger with a bag full of sensitive aircraft data. The explosive swab found no trace, but now they found evidence of multiple foreign trips paid for by someone else.
Basically, we found a lot of information about aircraft flight simulators, different magazines, different information on fuel from aircraft.
What planes are these? Are these small planes and commercial aircraft?
No. The Boeing planes, aircraft, the real aircraft,
big long
yeah.
Gary calls in Special Branch to tell them about the suspect's strange story.
My mum's boyfriend pays for it as well. Not only my dad. I've got my mum's boyfriend. He's an Englishman.
Go back to the back foot.
Yeah.
In a climate of global terrorism, the officers need to be on the lookout for all suspicious behaviour.
That's the cabin crew information.
I don't want the cabin crew, but you can keep me if you want, because I'm not doing any work on these.
This is the list of...
That's on the passport. That's on the passport.
He's flown. And does that tell him what's in his passport? 2003, 2008, he said his took off 34 times and landed 34 times.
Gary and the UK border officers have taken the questioning as far as they can. They now hand the suspect over to Special Branch for further investigation.
Okay, do you
want to get your bags and just come and have a word with us?
Cheers, mate. I mean, there's nothing secret. I won't keep a secret.
Okay, no problem.
Yeah, no worries.
For Gary and the team, the strange encounter comes to an end.
It was bizarre, I can't understand why he's doing all these trips. Just could be in his own little fantasy.
He might be a bit of a fruitcake for a chance.
The man is led away for questioning, while the border officers wait to find out the cause of the man's strange behaviour.